hostage. I used to tell her, I'm not going to be an emotional hostage.
Right,
Son.
like I can't do that.
Mom, because here's my thing with that. Like, she says, like, you know,
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. You ain't know what time it is. Back. Listen, hey, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Click on that bell button for notification of the what? Uploads, baby. For those of you returnees, you ain't got the minerals. You ain't got the minerals. Alright, cool. Let's talk about it. We're talking to you guys about Love Goals. We're going to talk about Sundy and her mother. I think it was a really good part of the episode where we saw, I guess, the key components, I guess, in Sundy's life where, you know, something's gone wrong and, you know, the pain that she felt from the fact she felt like her mother should have known that particular thing. Okay. So, we get to treat it obviously with Sundy, you know, we get told obviously that Sundy, you know, her mum comes in and says obviously, you know what, when Sundy was a young kid, she was amazing, she was bright, she was lovely, she was bubbly, all of that kind of things. And then when she grew up, when she got to around about 14, 13, as a teenager, she became rebellious. And I think, you know what, it's a lesson for me as well as an aspiring father in the future. I ain't got no kids, I'm just saying. But I think it's a lesson for me to analyze when my kid's behavior drastically changes. And the mum did a great thing. She responded as she could and as she should. I think this is very important. The mum couldn't do any more than she did. When your kid is going through a situation where they cannot explain to you, and then she puts, and what the mum said, obviously, she put her in front of a therapist, and rightly so, because at the end of the day, you know, she couldn't help her daughter any more than she could, right? So she put her in front of a professional, so that her daughter could begin to speak on the issues that are a problem, right? Ooh, Chile. And obviously, Sundy couldn't communicate the issue that was going on there. She couldn't communicate what was happening at the time. She couldn't communicate the fact that, you know, this terrible thing had happened to her. But her mum knew that something had gone wrong. And I think as a parent, this is the correct way to respond. You can't solve everything. And you can't also know everything. Only God can. And I think the fact that she did that was a responsible parent. I understand where Sundy's coming from, because you know, she's looking at it as, oh, my mum had all these degrees and everything like that, but how can she not spot this? And it's like the kid Sundy just wanted to be noticed that this thing had gone wrong, right? And again, like I said, it's difficult because, like I said, it's so to touch. And as Spirit explained, like, unless you are somebody who's in this field, this specific field of psychology, understanding child violence, sexual violence against children, understanding the traumas and how it plays itself out, how it manifests, to look for the signs, etc., it becomes impossible nigh almost to kind of see these things. You may know something's wrong, but you don't know what something's wrong. And nobody really wants to think that their daughter or their son has gone through such a traumatic experience.
That's why I took you to a therapist.
Right.
Now, you had an opportunity. There was a resource there.
Right, I got you to the help.
I got you to the help,
Yeah.
but you didn't use it.
Right. So I hear you saying, Mom, I did everything I could, everything I knew how to do.
Obviously, in this day and age now, we're very much aware now that these things do happen, and so we are very much more cautious now, and very much ready to ask those key questions. But you know, at the same time, you know, it wasn't the mother's fault, and I think the mother even explained that, look, I felt like I was being emotionally held hostage, you know, because like I'm being blamed for something I couldn't necessarily change or stop. You know what I mean? And as a mother, that must be heartbreaking, right? But she still had the capacity to be patient with her daughter. And I'm not gonna lie to you, fam. So yeah, I think obviously with obviously being a mother, you know, you're finding, you know, you're trying your best to look after your daughter, make sure that, you know, you take care of her. So I can understand there was a lot of pressure on the mum to really, when she reviewed the situation, as the daughter's finally told her what is up, you know, there might have been pressure on her internally that she might have never expressed, but she might have felt like she let her daughter down, etc., etc. And these things happen. You know, they do happen. And, you know, it is about growth and understanding that, listen, sometimes things do happen in life, and it's not necessarily the person's fault, you know. what I loved obviously about Sundy and I think her mum is the fact that, you know, they still got a great relationship. And even when Sundy joined the conversation, you saw Sundy how she jumped on give her mum a hug. She jumped on the sofa. She got really close to her mother, you know, and you know she you know, held her mother's hand, you know. And a lot of this thing, I think the reason why she was able to do this is because I think she understood also at the same time. I think there's a duality here, which is that, you know, understanding that this wasn't her mother's fault, but and also at the same time wanting her mother to know.
Perspective and
Right.
experience, right?
And I just feel like as intelligent as my mother is and the degrees that she has, like she has so many credentials, I just felt like...
But
Wanting her mother to have been able to find out without her telling her, this is what happened to me. And this is how we are. Sometimes as human beings, we want this. We want someone to read our mind, right? We don't want to have to say this thing because it's tough to say, and we'd rather that somebody had just said it for us, right? Because then that would help us then to open up, right? And so I think those two things were playing on her mind, but she's never, you know, separated. Obviously, she knew as well as she grew up, you know, that, you know, she became a bit rebellious and she was doing things. She even said that she did things against her mum on purpose, just to hurt her, because she wanted her to feel her mum. She wanted her mum to feel as she was feeling, and this is incredibly perceptive and open from Sundy. And I guess this is where the guilt comes from, in the sense of she knew better but was doing wrong because she wanted a way to ease the pain, and that came as infliction on her mum sometimes. And it's a lesson to all of us to learn as well. Like, look, guys, in relationships, these things do happen, and sometimes we even hurt each other and hurt family members because of the pain we're feeling and wanting an out for that pain. It doesn't give an excuse, but we're just kind of saying obviously the reasons why and how it got there. And obviously as well, I think, you know, in that regard, I kind of just saw Sundy in a completely different light. I could see the gravity and the weight of her decisions in the past that she felt like she was feeling guilty for, and it's almost like all the sins of her fell on her shoulders, and she now had a kind of clear conscience, a clear mind to see that, hey, I've done something wrong here. And it's almost like the Saul to Paul situation, where his eyes now open to see that, I've been doing wrong. And that weight of gravity, and the Bible even says to us, look, those who have been forgiven, much, love much, in a sense of the fact that when there's a parable that Jesus gave to Simon, and it's about the woman and the man whoever sinned more, had a debt that was more, and their debt got paid off, who would be more forgiving or more gracious? And it's always the person who has the most debt that will be more gracious. And what we're seeing with Sundy is that principle, where I've done so much dirt against you, Mum, and I've been forgiven, and I want to be more gracious. But there's still a weight of guilt that's on her shoulders, in the sense of, I should have never done it in the first place. And so I think it's a great example for us to see where Sundy's at and where she's coming from, and to see why there's such as, maybe there's also that feeling of not worthy to be loved kind of feeling coming through to her as well. And maybe that's why she took so long to be so open with Brave One. But we'll talk about Brave One in another episode as well. So yeah, guys, just want to kind of share that with yourselves. Let us know your thoughts down below. Let us know what you kind of thought about that. And yeah, we'll talk some more. Appreciate you guys. Stay locked, stay loaded. Think before you do. Don't do before you think. I should be thinking about what you got to do. Appreciate y'all.